Okay, so I moved to an entirely new continent with only a couple of suitcases and was embarking on a journey towards goals completely different than the ones I had just a couple of years prior, all because I was reacting to and coping with the unexpected impact of the global pandemic. And it was because of this complete drastic change that I felt a little bit lost. And then one day I went home to visit family, and I was spending time with my nephew, and he asked me, "Auntie, did you move to Germany because you're an explorer?" At first, I was a bit in shock. What a profound question from someone so young. But it really helped to push things back into perspective and see that all I've ever done since I was his age was simply explore. Regardless of motivation, fear, roadblocks, my tenacity for moving forward has always been driven by exploration. And today, I invite you all to do the same. In the next 18 minutes, I will give you the tools you need to get started and encourage you to overcome your fears so that you too can leave this talk ready to do the same as me. Explore. Just be ready, because just as life feels each and every day, this talk will be no different. It will be fast. And with that, we only have 15 minutes left. So before we go further, let's clarify something. When you explore, you move forward into something unknown in order to learn more about it. Exploration is how we know all of the countries on Earth and all of the planets in our solar system. But today, we are embarking on a journey towards a day in the future not yet known to us. Perhaps one that you never even planned for. And unlike explorers, there is no map or compass. And this can leave us feeling really uncertain, especially when our goals don't work out. Maybe you trained for years to be an athlete, and an injury ended that in a single moment. Or you dedicated your life to a career path, only to be passed over for a promotion you were certain would be yours. It could be that your entire timeline changed when you found out you were expecting, ready or not. Or maybe, like many, your goals had to be put on pause for something bigger than yourself. A sick relative, a financial shift, a global disruption. When this happens, it can leave us feeling completely alone. And it can shake your entire sense of what you thought your dreams would be. In fact, studies show that when faced with negative stimuli, we're likely to shift our goals in order to avoid further losses or setbacks in our goal pursuit. And while changes in priorities as we age is an influencing factor on how our goals might change over time, psychologists across the globe agree that a shift in resources impacts these goals too. Now, resources refer to the means available to you in order to achieve a goal. Sometimes resources, or the lack thereof, lead to uncertainty. And uncertainty is not just personal. It's woven into the political shifts that you live through. It's felt when economies turn overnight. It's seen in the environmental changes that we can't ignore. But no matter how carefully we plan, uncertainty is part of the world around us. So if you ever felt stuck, frozen not by lack of ambition, but by too many unknowns, you're not alone. Exploration isn't about knowing what's coming next. It's about moving forward anyways. And with that, we have 13 minutes left. So now that you're in motion, not because the path is clear, but because you've chosen to keep moving forward, your next challenge isn't movement, it's direction. Now, when I was younger, I always thought that if you know what you want, you get what you want. And having a clear map was about making the right decision in order to make that into a reality. But in a world full of uncertainty, that map can get outdated really fast. And as explorers, we aren't following a map. We are the ones making the map as we go. So even though we can't see the full route ahead, map making does require a little bit of direction. We need a compass. A 20-year study followed individuals in their goal pursuit and found that while life goals adapted due to circumstances, the participants' core personalities remained stable. And that's why your compass, or finding your compass, begins with understanding who you are. Think about the principles that guide you further. What do you value? What are the principles that matter to you? And let's create a mission statement together. But you might be thinking, if I'm stuck in a fog of uncertainty, where do I even start? Because sometimes that fog can be so thick that it's hard to remember who you are or even realize what goals you want to pursue moving forward. But that's okay. This isn't about perfect clarity, it's about alignment. Moving forward, exploration really becomes purpose-driven when you're aligning with your goals. And so this can start by asking yourself a simple question. When you wake up in the morning and you open the curtains, what do you see? Don't think about the view you have today, and don't worry about the details that you do not know. Picture this view with hope, optimism, freedom. What are the possibilities that lie within your imagination? And use this to find your mission statement. This doesn't have to be a 5-year plan. Just start with one simple sentence, something like, I want to build a life that gives others hope. I want to create communities that are connected. I want to grow even though it's slow. I want to learn something new every year. This one sentence can become your anchor and your guide as you continue moving forward. And while you might be thinking of yours right now, I want to share mine with you. My goal in life is to make all my dreams a reality and to do instead of try, and to enjoy every moment with pure gratitude. And as things moved forward throughout the pandemic and the world was changing, my priorities were changing too. But I just kept coming back to this view that I saw, somewhere with open skies, beautiful architecture, access to nature. And as I moved further away from the window, I could see my MBA, a change in the pace of life, a new language to learn. And keeping this mission statement in mind also made it easier to realize that though this was pushing me towards moving to a place I had never even considered, I was still grounded and I had my direction. So we're already halfway through, and sometimes you just don't realize how far you've already come. And having your direction is one thing, being ready to move is another, but fear is another challenge too. There's so many opportunities out there, but sometimes fear holds us back, and it's easier to say no and stay in our comfort zone than it is to take the risk to begin with. Fear tells us that starting over is failure, or that uncertainty is danger. Fear can be anxiety, uncertainty, and deep discomfort. And I'm not an expert in overcoming fear. In fact, it's been a big part of every step I've ever taken. But I am someone who chooses to move forward despite the fear. In fact, right now, I'm really scared, but I know in about 7 minutes, it will all be over with. So that's great. Actually, psychologists look at fear as a conditioned response to create risk avoidance, and our willingness to avoid risk, discomfort, and loss is what leads us to pivot in our goal pursuit. Sometimes when we are afraid, we are more likely to pivot. Other times it might seem like our backup plan has more resources, so it becomes our main plan, or the one after that, or the one after that. And this feeling of failing, of goals passing you by, will always be there, because there is no magic formula for removing fear. But studies show that the more that you face your fears, the easier it does become to develop coping mechanisms to deal with these fears. But no matter what goals you have moving forward, you will have fear. For me, one thing you can do is find courage. Now, courage is sometimes seen as the absence of fear or bravery. But for me, I think it's quite the opposite. It was never about being fearless. It was just about choosing to trust that the next step, even if uncertain, would lead to somewhere important. And the funny thing is, it usually does. And through every success and failure, I've used my courage to allow fear to walk alongside me. Because we can't stop waiting for fear to disappear. We have to start choosing to move forward anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. So keep yourself grounded. Remember your compass. Hold on to your courage as you keep moving forward. I know, it's easier said than done. But just as my mission statement says, I will do. And I'm confident that everyone here is capable of that too. So take a deep breath. There's just 5 minutes left. And we've talked about how to find your compass and how to cope with fear. And now it's time to put in the work, because dreams without action stay dreams, and direction without steps lead nowhere. And living in the reality of your dreams means not only envisioning what you want, but putting in the work to get there. If I had never filled out the application to the graduate program, I wouldn't have gotten accepted. If I had never gone to classes or finished my thesis, I wouldn't have gotten my degree. And there are countless goal-setting strategies you can choose from to help you have more structure and guidance as you establish what goals are important to you. But regardless of which goal-setting strategy you picked, I wanted to share some tips with you from one explorer to another. And the first is to start by writing down your goals and put them somewhere that you'll look at them every single day. This could be a cutesy vision board filled with photos, or an app on your phone that you'll check every morning. For me, it's just a whiteboard hanging on a wall. And from there, remember that you can't only look at your goals, you need to put in the work. So start with baby steps. Whether it's just 5 minutes, $5, or 5 words written in a journal, each little baby step that you take is an action closer towards accomplishing that goal. And with every action that you make, you're beginning to form new habits, and this will lead you somewhere. But stay flexible, because just as the world took thousands of years to be what it is today, your goals can't be achieved through major leaps and bounds, but rather through being flexible. Sometimes your goals might have to be put on pause, or you might need to realign, but it could be that you're being led to goals better than the ones that you ever imagined for yourself. And through everything, stay aligned. Remember that your actions should be reflected in your values, and remember your mission to keep driving you forward, even in uncertainty, because explorers don't wait for conditions to be perfect. They move forward anyway. And despite our best intentions, you might not achieve any of the goals that you have today. Research shows that actually 88% of people aren't even going to accomplish their New Year's resolutions. Now, why? Well, part of it can be from not lack of ambition, but the difficulty of changing old habits. And for others, it's the paralyzing fear of failure, that if you start, you might fail. The truth is, you never know until you try. Marriages fail, businesses close, and people close to you die. And this can lead to a shift in the goals that you thought you wanted to pursue. And sometimes it feels like your dreams are becoming shattered. But explorers don't abandon the journey. They reroute and move forward anyway. You never had an exact map. So now, no matter which goals you accomplish, you will continue to have more. And those might not replace the old ones. They will give you a new opportunity, a chance, and a direction. 1 minute left. Let's make it count. Adjusting to Germany was difficult. Getting my master's degree wasn't easy, and standing on this stage is scary. But right now, I'm sticking with my compass and forging my path forward as my map continues to grow bigger. I'm living in the reality of a long sought-after dream, doing something I always desired, and so grateful that I get to share this moment with all of you. And just like that, 18 minutes have come and gone. Wow, that was fast. But the next 18 minutes, 18 hours, 18 days, 18 months, 18 years, those are gonna fly by too. And it's okay to be afraid because you have all the tools you need, and you'll pick up your compass and you'll find your direction, and your map will continue to be drawn too. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, and it's time to keep exploring.